All right, at this time, we're going to call the meeting of December 3rd, 2018 to order. Vice Mayor Luna, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Ready? Salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Roll call, please.
Give me just 1 second. I'm sorry.
I can help you with the names.
No,
Councilmember Gilio.
the computer was doing a live sound over here. I had to stop it. Councilmember Gilio.
Here for the last time.
Vice Mayor Solario Luna.
Present.
Mayor Velasquez.
Here.
Councilmember Clower.
Here.
Councilmember Lenore. City Manager Avra.
Present.
City Attorney Epperson.
Here.
Chief of Police Westrick.
Here.
Thank you. And the amended agenda for the City of Hollister City Council meeting of December 3rd, 2018 was posted on the bulletin board on November 30th, 2018 at 4:15 p.m. per Government Code Section 54954.2.
Thank you very much. We have a recognition tonight from the Fire Department.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. So if you weren't aware about the Homestead fire we had a couple of weeks back prior to Thanksgiving, we've got a couple of citizens of the City of Hollister that need to be recognized. I see one of them in the audience right now, and I don't know if I see Mr. Javier Ortega here. Here he is. Can I get you gents to come up front? So as they're making their way up front, what happened was at around a little bit after 5 o'clock, a call came in from concerned residents at the 1100 block of Homestead. What had happened was flames were shooting through a roof, and that's what was coming out through the 911 dispatch. We had two separate calls going on at the same time. One of them was a vehicle accident which pulled our battalion chief out of the local response area and into San Juan Bautista. We had the only available engine coming out of the Union Road Station 2 area. And by, I want to say, the time that it was identified, which was about a foot flame, was what you guys saw on the initial call, to about the time we got there. When I arrived on scene, which was about 9 minutes later, I saw 40-foot flames on top of that roof, surpassing the treetops. Okay, so what had happened was, and I'm going to read the citation in the narrative, these gentlemen, disregarding their own safety, came upon this incident and took diligent action. So I'm going to read off Mr. Couture's narrative, and it goes like this. On November 13th, 2018, at approximately 5:09 p.m., Hollister resident Eric Couture came upon a residential fire at the 1000 block of Homestead Avenue, noticing 1-foot flames penetrating through the roof of a wood shingle roof of a single-story structure. Mr. Couture activated 911 emergency systems along with several other neighbors. Eric immediately knocked on the front door and entered the residence, informing occupants their home was on fire. Eric assisted the family in evacuating the premises. Eric went back into the building and performed a secondary search to confirm that the house was clear of occupants. By bravely entering the burning building and ignoring the imminent danger from clearly hazardous incident, Eric was able to notify 911, inform, and extract the occupants, thereby preventing loss of life. For his heroic actions on November 13, 2018, Eric Couture is hereby presented with Citizen Recognition Award for Life-Saving Actions, December 3rd, this day, 2018. Congratulations. Javier Ortega, on November 13, 2018, at approximately 5:09 p.m., Hollister resident Javier Ortega came upon a residential fire at the 1000 block of Homestead Avenue. Mr. Ortega, while performing his duty as one of the city's postal carriers, alerted neighboring residents of imminent danger. Javier informed neighbors of the structure fire, which prompted neighbors to assist in removing a trailer and equipment from the involved structure. For his heroic action on November 13, 2018, Javier Ortega is hereby presented with the Citizens Recognition Award for Life-Saving Actions this third day of December 2018. Javier. So real quick, as firefighters, we're trained to do this. We're trained to run into these buildings, but we go with all the safety precautions necessary. We go to classes, the fire academy, and we do constant training. We do simulations. These two gentlemen haven't had any of that training, not from my knowledge, not unless they do that at the post office and wherever it is you work. But from what I understand, this isn't a regular occurrence, and it's my honor to recognize them for something that we normally do on a regular basis, but that's out of the character of your own professions. Thank you again. And the citizens, thank you. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
President, say anything?
Good job, guys.
Chief, I would like to just mention something. The fire was 2 homes away from our home, and it was quite an evening. And Javier, if he wouldn't have knocked on our door, we would have never known that the fire was going on 2 doors away from us. And I just want to thank the fire department for coming in and being there, and the American Red Cross, who took over our home as headquarters to assist the Silva family. And that's what it takes when a community comes together and helps each other. And there was neighbors all over Homestead Street with hoses. I don't know how far their water was going to get, but they had hoses out. And thank you very much for recognizing each gentleman. I really appreciate on behalf of our block on Homestead. We certainly appreciate that, Chief. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. All right, we're going to move forward to the consent agenda. Are there any items the council would like to pull? I'd like to pull item A3.
I need to recuse myself from items A6 and 7 because I have a family member who has an interest in that project, and A8 and 9 because the brokerage that I work with is involved in those projects.
Okay, do we have any?
I'd like to pull A2, please, and I have nothing else from the public.
Okay,
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as amended and then discuss the other items.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to be voting against A8 and A9.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move to item A2.
Item A2 I'm pulling. There's a change. I'd like to amend the minutes to read for roll call. Instead of it saying Council Member District 2 to Vice Mayor Mickey Solario Luna under roll call. And then for E2, I had Carol Lenore's abstained. Our system for some reason only put the word recused, so I've changed it to recused, and I'm waiting for our technicians to make the change to our minutes in the future to be able to pull that directly off of our agenda so that won't happen again. So it'll add abstained and recused. Anyway, with those 2 amendments, that's what I'd like to change on those minutes.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anything from the public on item A2? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. We'll move to item A3. I asked to pull this. This is a issue that's a very big issue, obviously $4 million issue here. It's a discussion we've had many times in the past. I think it's one of these items that it's going to take more time to go over it, and I think it's something the new council should be involved with, as this problem seems to be persistent in the ponds. And I want to, again, have an opportunity with the new council to look at different solutions toward this. So what I would like to do with the council's support is to table this to a future meeting when the new council is seated. That's something that works with the other council members.
I'd like to hear just if this is urgent, if it's something that we need to do for the health of our system, or we're going to have a major problem, or could it wait till, when's your next meeting? The 19th, is that right?
December 17th.
Or if it could wait till the 17th, if I can just hear that from staff. I don't know how big of an emergency it is.
Our operator is telling us it's an urgent issue. They are present. I can ask them to come up and answer that question, Jim. Gravity's not working.
Honorable Mayor, respected members of the council, that's a good question, and it is urgent. It's been urgent for quite a while. We've been working on a solution. It's urgent at this point to take at least a lot of the sludge out of the basin. If you drove by there, you'll see it's at the very lip, and if it rains and we have a problem, we have nowhere for the water to go. That basin not only takes the sludge, which is unique in a lot of places because it's getting a lot of sludge every day, but it also takes the water that would overcome the plant if there was a power outage. The night before Thanksgiving, we had a 2.5-hour power outage. On Thanksgiving, we were out there till 2 o'clock in the afternoon because we're on the end of the line and during bad weather. So if you can imagine you're having a major storm like tomorrow and there's a power outage, we need to get some freeboard out there, so we do need some sludge taken out of that basin.
I have a question.
Go ahead and ask your question, then we'll go back to you.
Thank you, sir.
So, thank you. This is a maintenance issue for me. Do you suspect that the sludge, if we hold it off till the 17th, is the sludge buildup going to damage the aerators? Because I know that's a big concern, and the aerators are not cheap. And the membranes are clogging up. So is that something that you feel can wait? I do want to add also that this is coming out of user fees. It's a lot of money, but it's not uncommon for wastewater facilities to have sludge removal. So I just want to know your opinion. Do you think we'll break anything between now and the 17th?
For the last couple of months, we've been taking the aerators out almost on a weekly basis. If you drove now, you'd only see 3 of the 7 online because they're having problems. There's just too much sludge. It's changing the chemical composition of the pond. The aerators aren't powerful enough. By the 17th, we just have an issue. The sooner you get going, if it happens to be a rainy winter. Normally we pull 3 or 4 feet out of water, but there's just too much sludge. You can't get the water out correctly, so... And it's very common. I mean, every single entity in the state of California is having sludge that's not going to go away. The new regs, they postponed them a year, but the new regs are going to make it tougher and tougher to handle the sludge. So,
Okay. Councilmember Gillio.
My question is this: if we I kind of got here at the tail end of the conversation that Mr. Mayor you were having with Veolia and the plant operators and the city about different options, floating islands, and all these different options to manage the plant. Even if we were to go to a new option, let's say, I don't know what the option is, or some magic, beautiful option out there, we pick it, and it's going to make everything better. Do we still have to remove the sludge, or is there a way that this new option would actually treat the sludge and you're...
No, you got to take the sludge out, and you could try putting enzymes. They do that over at the industrial. It hasn't proven to be any more effective than not putting enzymes, but the cannery funds it up and is trying hard to make something happen. But right now in our pond, we're creating this, and I took this off an impeller or propeller blade on an aerator, and if you can imagine this aerator is spinning around, and we're building that. If we pump that pond to the plant and this gets in the plant, your millions of dollars of membranes are at risk. So it's just got to a critical point. Now, whether or not you vote that today, which I would hope you'd vote it at least get going today, we can measure it. we can do analysis on it every week or every 2 weeks, but something soon needs to be done.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor Luna.
My question would be that if we should postpone this for the new council coming in, Mr. Mayor, are you going to educate the new council on previous treatment of the treatment plan and how this works? Or will they be postponing it to another meeting for additional time, for discussion and for approval? My concern is the cost that it may cost to hold it off for a later date.
That's a very good point. Council member, if the pond overflows and goes out onto 156, I forget what the cost is, but it's like $24 or $21 a gallon. So if you get 1 million gallons out there, which is feasible, you're looking at 20 million versus whatever it took to get us going here. So we can get some freeboard in that pond, and we need to stop this from happening.
Okay, Councilmember Clower.
Okay, so it sounds like this is pretty urgent, and if it is, and we approve it, how soon is somebody going to be out there taking it out of the pond?
They're going to start mobilizing in a week or two. They have to get their crew together, and then they'll get out there. It's a big company. They have plenty of crews, a lot of belt presses. They'll be bringing the trucks out and getting going on it. I can express to them to move as quickly as possible. I'm sure they will.
Okay, because that's what's being expressed to us, so I would hope that the same thing would be expressed to them so that that can actually happen.
We've already had that discussion. And they work with Veolia a lot, and they worked before with Hollister, and the other thing they held is their price they proposed, so it's $775 a dry ton. And recently they took sludge from San Juan Bautista, which was faced with a similar problem, and so they removed all the sludge. I think it was $950 or something a ton. But we can work with it, and, like in a month we can do an evaluation. They have a proposal. It takes 6 months. We're happy to go out on Saturday and Sunday on our time. They're not there, and measure the sludge and see what's going on and get back to the council or Billy or Michael about where we're at.
Is that rate based off the total volume that's expected to need to come out?
No,
or is that something that we can say we'd like to have this much and we're good?
I had a discussion with them this afternoon, and whatever. If when you get to 1,000 dry ton, if that seems like it solved the problem and work, they're willing to demobilize and do the job later. You got to empty it someday. You got to take it out because you're putting it in, but you can do some now. And
that seems fairly reasonable to me. So,
Thank you. Here's the issue I'm having, and I do agree something has to be done sooner rather than later. My issue is when we had this discussion a few years ago concerning the industrial ponds, the discussion was, okay, let's spend $1 million there, and by the way, how are we looking at domestic pond? And we agreed, let's pull $1 million out of there of sludge, and that should take care of us for up to 10 years or so. I forgot what the conversation was.
I believe it was 5.
Okay, 5 years. Now we're getting a request to spend $4 million on an emergency basis. These are the kind of things that really start to bother me. I want this information ahead of time. As I've said back then, let's put a plan together so we're not facing these emergencies every few years. That can't keep going on. We're always at the last minute of, if we don't spend this money right now, we're going to be fined by the state. We shouldn't be in that position. We should have had a better plan when we first spent that money. We should have had a good understanding when it was going to get to this level so we can have pulled out an additional amount or looked at some of the other processes that were out there. This is a conversation we had, you and I. We had this conversation, very serious conversation about let's stop being at the last minute. Obviously, nobody wants this to spill over, and if we need to spend some money right now, we have to do that. But I think what I'm trying to put out here is we need to have a deeper conversation again so we're not in this emergency mode every 2 years. It's very frustrating, I have to tell you. You're coming to us saying, give us $4.5 million or else we're going to be fined by the state for spilling again. We shouldn't have that conversation.
So You are correct, and in conjunction with this, we're working on two different things. I've already negotiated with John Smith to accept our sludge in the future. I have engineers looking at our belt press to see if it can be modified so that currently it's designed to operate off of 20-yard dumpsters. We generate 20 yards of sludge in a day, which means we got to pay for somebody to go change out that dumpster every day and haul it away. What we're looking at see if we can do is modify the conveyor belt system on that, where we can use our transfer trucks out at the yard, dump it directly into the transfer trucks, and then us haul it up to John Smith 2 times a week. Additionally, with that, Synagro, the company that we're going to contract with through Veolia to remove the sludge, is in the process of building or purchasing land in South County to dispose of sludge. Currently, if we contract with them to do the sludge hauling from the belt press, we pay Central Valley prices because they're hauling it all the way to Tracy. With a local facility, we're going to come back with Hollister prices and give you that option of which way to go. And I'm looking to do that in March.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And this is part of this conversation. What is a long-term solution?
That is
Remember,
a
going back
solution.
a few years, we had the conversation. We added an initial, I think, $150,000 for an operator to run the dry press to remove some of the sludge. So you can see why
there
I'm a
was
little
no disposal
frustrated.
plan for that, and they removed it with the belt press and then dumped it in the pond.
For different reasons, I understand. My point here is, obviously, we have to do something,
That's
but
correct.
we need a long-range plan, and I would appreciate, I'd like
And
to
that is
have
coming to
that
you.
new council work on that plan. Obviously, again, something has to be done now. I
Yes.
can see that. We don't want the spill happening. But to just request the $4.5 million right now, I think it's a bad option here, and I'd like to do something, because I don't want to be in a situation where we have a spill, but I'd like to have that done partially, and then put together a plan, a solid plan, so that we get updates every 6 months or a year, so we don't ever have these emergencies again.
So with Jim's conversation this afternoon, we can change this to a not-to-exceed amount. That when this report was written 2 weeks ago and turned in, that wasn't part of the discussion as such.
If I may, I mean, maybe as a not necessarily as a compromise, but as maybe a potential solution or recommendation. If the council is willing to move forward with, say, like a $1.5 million contract to get them started, that'll buy us, again, like 3.5 years of sludge disposal, or 3 years, depending on if things work around the same as they are right now. And that gives us time to get back with the new council and look at those options, and whether or not you continue on and spend the additional 2.8 or something along that realm, or another potential solution to be discussed in the future. I think that's probably where I think we can land on at minimum, right? That seems reasonable.
Thank you, Bill. Councilmember Gilliam?
Thank you, City Manager Rivera. That's kind of where I was headed. My thought was, you had mentioned, I think, 1,000 tons. Is that correct? And 1,000 tons. If you go 1,200 tons, it's $1 million. 21,200. Is that? I'm looking behind you, Mike, because I think he mentioned it. Is that?
My
is that
recommendation
enough?
would do no less than 2,000 dry tons.
Okay, 2,000 dry tons is going to be about
And
18.
just so you
1.8
understand,
million.
the way this is written and negotiated now, we're looking at a $3.6 million savings over the prices that we did last time.
I see that. Yeah.
So we would be forfeiting those savings if we do not do the whole amount.
Yeah, I was going to point that out. We are saving significantly because of the volume. But I think, Mr. Mayor, I think you're right that we could plan better in the future, but that's not going to solve this issue now, because you do have options of having drying beds in the future, which I think we probably should research. You also have the options of having equalization tanks that alleviates the spiking during the morning and in the evening. So there are solutions, but it doesn't solve our problem now. So I don't want to break any aerators out there.
Correct, and again, I think, as the city manager pointed out, 1.5 million, or the number Mr. Gilio pointed out, 1.8 million to reach those numbers, could hold us over for 3 to 4 years. As you pointed out, there will be a new place to dispose of the sludge in the near future. Correct, those are not ready right now.
That's correct.
So there will be a savings there also.
We hope so.
This is why we need time to do it right. That's what I'm asking for tonight. Okay, is there any other questions from council? Do we have any speaker cards?
Yes, Mr. Mayor? Zavon Casada?
My name is Vaughn. I'm a full-blown artist from San Diego County, Hollister, California. And we're up here talking about sludge. It just humors me because the things that we're talking about that should have been, not talked about at all. Because when planned and fixed in the beginning, the builders or contractors should have said, hey, in 5 years from now or 10 years from now, this might, what do you think? No, just build it. Why is something like this even talked about on the agenda if something like this could have been of a matter discussed and solved with a solution, not another idea? And I was just wondering, none of this money is coming out of the general fund, though, right? Just making sure because just wanted to make sure because a lot of things come out of the general fund, which is supposed to be for the parks and all the excitement around the city. So yeah, that's about it.
Thank you.
Marty Richmond?
Marty Richard from Hollister. I'm going to have to be careful what I say because this may wind up in my lap. Thank you very much for that. I want to thank you in advance.
Welcome to the world of sludge.
Since the item on the agenda is going to be acted on up here today, I can talk about it. So I do think an interim solution. I don't have a number to offer, but I do think an interim solution is the best answer. And I would hope that in the future, when we try to tackle this, that we have a comprehensive staff work that shows all the options and where we think it's going to go year over year, and what the short-term, interim term, and long-term solution possibilities are. Because I have sat here for years while this discussion has gone on and come back and gone on and come back. I know I'm being a Monday morning quarterback, but I'm a little concerned, more than a little concerned about the fact that we are where we are in that, today we went over the line. I'm used to, my military training is, we're getting close to the line, we're near the line, and now we're over the line. So everybody's prepared for that, rather than coming in and saying, we're over the line. The next 5 drops are going to put us in real trouble. So we need to put in a system that makes sure we don't do that in the future. And I think an interim solution, whatever number you come up with, will be the best idea, understanding that the percentage cost of staging is going versus what you're going to get for your money is going to go up, because that's just the way it is. When you do less work, the staging winds up essentially be the same cost, and as a percentage of the whole thing, it's going to go up. It was only 1.9% or under 2% when you were doing it all. Now it's going to go, and now the staging is going to go, the staging costs are going to go up because you're going to do less. So you're going to have to pick a number that essentially you can live with the staging cost, because if you make the number too low, then the staging cost is going to be too high. So I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Roland Resendez?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. Roland Resendez. I, too, am concerned about the amount of the contract that they're asking for, $4.5 million. My question would be, if they're going to give us the savings today, why can they not honor that in a couple of weeks when the new City Council comes in? My other question would be, if they give us the savings today, why can they not honor whatever amount the council decides on now and still honor the savings? To me, it seems very, I would say, theatrical for people to come up here with a bag of sludge and to like Marty said, how they're going to say, oh, we're 5 drops away from it going over 156. That doesn't make me feel very comfortable or competent in the job that the staff has been doing. My understanding was that the city council just found out about this, and we cannot operate like that. It's very concerning to me. I am not up here to point fingers at anybody, but I don't feel comfortable or competent spending $4.5 million. And I think that we have a very competent city council that's going to come on board here soon. And I'm sure that we'll be briefed on the history of these problems and that we can come up with a resolution that will make everybody happy. So I would ask that you do not give $4.5 million to them tonight and to allow the city council, the new city council members, to have a chance to go ahead and deal with the situation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I have no more speakers, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Gilliard, Councilman Gilliard, you ran some numbers real quick. What are they?
Yes, sir. If you do 2,000 tons, I would recommend an amount not to exceed 1.75 million. It's about 1.706, I believe it was the number for 2,000 tons.
1.75.
Yeah, 1.75 would give you a little cushion.
1.8, 1.75.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, 1.8 would be great. I'm
Can
prepared to
I
make
just-
a motion.
Oh,
if you
sorry.
are. I'm sorry.
If I may, can I just make a clarification for the people in the audience, just so that we're all talking about the same thing? So this product here is not sludge. This is basically a kidney stone. This is what people get. It's phosphorus, magnesium, and ammonia. And what it is it's just an aggressive thing. And it just like in the human body, the plant works very similar, and this is what we're trying to avoid. It's not about necessarily all about sludge, although sludge is probably the primary cause of this happening because we're not able to get enough dissolved oxygen in the plant, et cetera. So I just want to make sure this is not sludge. This is a kidney stone. Our plant happens to be unhealthy right now, and we're trying to fix that. Is the most critical part, is that we don't want this to get into some of the integral parts of the plant and the processing of the treatment. Right now, it's and that's why it's important. Now, whether the council decides to do a portion of it, again, I think that's a reasonable compromise at this point. I believe we can have those conversations with Synagro as the new council becomes familiar with the situation. Once they mobilize, and once the new council can make a decision to continue on, I'm sure they'll continue to honor the contract or the negotiated price that we're at right now. I don't think that's an issue. It's not about do it today or you're not going to get the deal. I think it's just, if you're going to mobilize, there's a cost for mobilization, as Marty said. If you don't remove it all, then that's probably just a higher percentage of the cost that you do to remove it. So I'm not saying anything that nobody really knows. I just want to make sure that nobody held up a bag of sludge at the meeting.
Yeah. Thank you for not doing that.
So, Mr. Gilliard, your number is 1.75?
Yeah, I'm prepared to make a motion, Mr. Mayor, if you're ready for one.
Yes, sir.
I make a motion that we authorize staff to enter into a contract not to exceed $1.8 million to remove as much sludge as we can. It looks like it'll be about 2,000 tons, and the total cost is based on $851 per ton, which is it's enough. That's my motion.
Okay.
Sorry for the long motion.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you very much.
Just to be clear, you voted no?
No, yes. It was a 5-0 vote.
Okay, you voted yes.
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 ma'am.
Thank
All right. Was that the last item, Councilmember London? Did you pull an item? No. All right. All right, public input. This is the time for anyone in the audience to speak on any item not on the agenda and within the subject matter jurisdiction of the council. Speaker cards are available in the lobby and are to be completed and given to the city clerk before speaking. When the city clerk calls your name, please come to the podium, state your name and city for the record, and speak to the city council. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes with a maximum of 30 minutes per subject. Please note that state law prohibits the city council from discussing or taking action on any item not on the agenda. Do we have any speaker cards tonight?
you. Yes, Mr. Mayor? Marty Richmond?
your
Good
last
evening
time,
again,
Marty.
Marty Richmond from Hollister. I'd like to make some last comments on the election. First of all, I think it's pretty amazing. It was an off-year election in District 4. Approximately 70% of the registered voters. So I want to thank the voters for coming out, whoever they voted for. It shows they care about the city that they live in. I also really think a lot of that turnout credit goes to the San Benito County Department of Elections or Elections Department for coming up with a very usable mail ballot system that people have confidence in, that is flexible enough to work over a period of time, and that people get a chance to, no matter where they work and how late they come home and whether they're on vacation or whatever, they get a chance to express their desires. So I do want to thank everyone involved, the public and the elections department that works behind the scene, often unseen, for their hard work. And finally, the only question I'm left with is, in the House, I have 46 pounds of blank City of Hollister speaker cards. Who do I mail those to? Thank you for your time.
You won't need those anymore.
Zavon Casada.
My name is Vaughn. I'm an artist, full-blown from San Benito County, Hollister, California. So I have a situation, Mayor. My situation is like this, and Council. I've been at a couple properties in Hollister time before, doing artwork and all that. And this is the third property, And I think even one time, Mr. Mayor, you told me, take your stuff from 7-Eleven and go by the park on downtown 400 block. And the next day, my stuff was thrown away. This is the third property. I'm staying behind over there, AM, PM, right across the street from the hotel. And the property owner has no problem with us there. But he's getting pressured by the city, $1,000 a day, a bill, to have us moved. Where are we going to move to? I mean, what's the $1,000 a day for? What ordinance does that fall under? And another category is if they're so tripping so much on us, that's in the corner, in the back, practically in the dock, what's going on with the downtown area right there where there was a nursery before? And why is everything being just pushed aside? I mean, right here at the Gavlin Library, the Gavlin School, the parking lot, yes, people were there. Now what they did was they swept everybody to the business of a new business owner who's local, trying to get her thing started. Now she has homeless people behind there. What is going to happen when everything that you're trying to remove, and you finally say, hey, they're human beings, we can't remove them anywhere, and start offering services to help the people that you are looking at in disgust, or even not giving them an honorable way of, hey, a nice gesture. Homeless people are individuals, people that breathe just like you. Everything of the same manner that we try to do is to be creative. I don't even understand. Well, actually, I can understand a little bit, Mayor, because you're the one that made the ordinance, actually, that no more street chalking and all that, right? I mean, where's the color? I mean, everything that has to do with other cities is art infilled. I mean, there's art everywhere. What's that saying? I can't put art anywhere because it's going to get destroyed or thrown down by the code enforcement? I wish they were here. I really don't wish for nothing, but I just would like for them to be here.
Quesada, please speak to the council.
Mayor, I want to speak to the council, but have you looked at the agenda? And you're over here talking about our waste management, how they're giving problems. Aren't we going to build another one? Didn't you talk about that? Oh, you weren't here, though. But the last council meeting we had, someone was up here speaking about another waste place. So if we are so concerned about where's this waste management taking us, why are we building more? Why are we putting the money to to rebuild our downtown? We have buildings that need help. People that are owning them and trying to get their feet lifted and on some solid ground. And all we do is look at them. When are we going to help them as a city, as a community, and come together like one? We look at everybody. Stop staring and start helping. Show your brilliance by being present for who you are, of an important champion. I say that from this place because all I can see is brilliance around me. The youth is here and I love it. Speaking of youth, Mayor, how come you weren't at the last youth council meeting? I would think that the mayor would want to be there to encourage the youth. Hey, good job. I'm glad you're here. Keep it moving. You're so brilliant. Actually, there was nobody but me and another parent and this gentleman right here. So it makes me wonder, like, a man who's supposed to be moving us of a city forward. We're fighting for property that hasn't even had nothing built yet. And we got places like the Hollister House and that other one next to the pub, that one that's been empty for years. Why are we focusing on that?
Thank you very much.
We have no more speakers, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
We have one more speaker.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. Elia Salinas, city resident. I am here tonight because I want to thank our council members that are leaving. Jim Gillio, you've done an amazing job. It was great. I'm glad you're going to be going on to the county because I know you're going to be doing a great place with the county. It's going to be awesome. Want to see the city and the county work together, and I think you and Supervisor Medina are headed towards that. Carson, youngest that I'm aware of council member. You've done a great job, and I'm really proud of you. I've known you since you were a kid. I still consider you a kid. Anyway, you've done a great job. You put up with a lot, and I'm very proud of the way you handled yourself. It's amazing, and I wish you good luck. And Councilman Luna, thank you for your job that you've done. I think you've done a great job for the district that you represent, and I know that you're not going anywhere. You're still going to be around, so thank you so much. And Mayor, good luck with your new council members, and Lenore, go for it. You've done an amazing job. I'm really proud of the job you're doing up here. You're very well prepared, and it's amazing. And it's great to see that we're still going to have some females on the council. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mark Medina?
Well, I just want to take this time right now to thank public servants that spent numerous years. People are leaving this council. Councilman Clower, thank you for everything you've done. It was a real hard term. Mm-hmm. You've weathered it, and I think you made the community a better place. Ms. Luna, I can't say enough. You've been in the public eye for, with all due respect, decades and decades and decades. And it gives me a lot of energy when I see what you've done and the connections you made and the things that you were passionate for. And regardless what other people thought, you stuck to your guns. And that's the difference between politicians and excellent politicians. So thank you very much. Councilman Gillio, you'll start a new chapter pretty quick here. You came in to the council in a weird fashion, being, I forget how many people there were, 7?
9, but nobody's counting.
9, okay. 9 people. You weren't involved in politics at that point in time, and these 3 members and Councilman Friend chose you over everyone else. It says a lot about your character. You've shown everyone they made the right decision by attending every darn event there is in this town. Your calendar is full every day. You're at every community event, and it's known in this community. So keep up the good work. I wish you the best of luck in the other part of your political career. But just thank everyone for serving on the council. There are times where we all don't get along, where we do not see eye to eye, but I appreciate everything you've done for this city of Hollister. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Are there any other speakers? I don't think there are any more
Okay,
speakers.
then we're going to move on with the city manager's report.
Thank you. I don't have much. I just want to let everybody know, I believe that the elections are getting ready to be certified or are certified, so we will be having a special meeting of this city council to, you guys will call to order the meeting, and we'll switch places, and the new council will go ahead and take their oath and adjourn. And then, so that'll occur on December 10th, next Monday, at, are we going to do it at
6:30?
At 6:30? Okay.
And we will have the one resolution that will be approving the reciting of the facts from the county.
So Jim has one more meeting to show up to. I'm sorry, Councilman Gillio has one more meeting.
They all do, right?
I know. Everybody's saying goodbye like it's goodbye. You're all welcome to come back next week and do it again.
Do it again.
Mr. Mayor, can I make one point on that just real quick? I think I read something today that the election isn't certified till the 11th, maybe? I'm not certain.
It's been certified.
It's been certified, okay. Thank you.
All right, we're going to go ahead and move to item F1.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. This item is for the second reading of Ordinance 1172. Ordinance 1172 approves amendments to Chapter 15.24, Grading and Best Management Practice Control of the Hollister Municipal Code. The approved amendments will provide updates to the code which comply with state regulations and provide clarification to miscellaneous sections to assist with development processing. On November 19, 2018, the City Council held a public hearing to introduce Ordinance 1172. At that meeting, staff was directed to schedule a second reading of the ordinance for today's date, December 3rd, 2018. Staff recommends that the City Council read by title only, waive full reading, and adopt Ordinance 1172, approving amendments to Chapter 15.24, Grading and Best Management Practice Control of the Hollister Municipal Code.
Okay. Is there any questions from council? Do we have any speaker cards this item?
We have no speaker cards, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much. We're going to move on to item G1, reports from city council members regarding their committees. Councilmember Lenore.
Carson, I'm on the right page tonight.
Short agenda.
I haven't attended any since we last spoke, but I just want to confirm with you, Mr. Mayor Velasquez, do we have a fire committee meeting on Wednesday?
No, we do not.
And do we have any intergovernmental?
No, we do not.
No, so darn, I
You're
won't be
free
able to
and-
see you again.
Free and clear until we appoint all the committees. and
Okay,
we'll
so
be
I'll
getting together
scratch
again.
that off my calendar. I have nothing else to report.
Thank you. Councilmember Clower.
Yes, so my only point is about the Intergovernmental Committee. Because we went to every other month a while back, and then we canceled this month, that means that there won't be a meeting until February. I think that I've kind of not done a great job at keeping the importance of that meeting. I've tried it a couple times to talk about it here, but I'm hoping that whoever ends up on that in the next round of appointments will inspire the other people that are there and the other agencies, because you actually have a really good group of staff that comes to those meetings, and I think that as the elected officials, we've let them down during that meeting, at least for the last full year. So just whoever's on that, keep an eye out. It's going to be low expectations, but at one point that was an important committee, and it should be an important committee. A lot of us say that we'd like to work better with the other agencies, and they're there. So we just need to get everybody to show up and then take it seriously. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Luna.
I don't have any reports. I have not attended, there was no committee meetings, but I do want to say, as well as Councilmember Clower mentioned, I do did attend the Area Agency on Aging, and there's two people that represent the Senate, that report to the State Senate and to the State Assembly. I am one of the persons that represents Santa Cruz County and San Benito County to the State Assembly. That does not require that you are a member of a city council, board of supervisors, whatever. So I will attend another meeting with Pauline Valdivia this month, and then they'll decide what happens after that. But I believe that the Area Agency on Aging, when I was appointed to that, there was nobody from San Benito County, and I know that Supervisor Medina knows well that I have been after the county to attend these meetings, because after all, the budget for Pauline Valdivia is there, and if nobody's there to fight for her budget, nobody's there. But I have never missed those meetings, and at times Pauline and I have traveled together to the meetings. I think it's extremely important for the senior citizens of San Benito County and this community and the city that they do have a representative there that will speak on their behalf. So now I understand San Juan Bautista is going to have a representative finally, and I'm hoping that the county of San Benito will also have one, and then, of course, along with the city of Hollister. So that's my report.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Aguilio.
Mr. Mayor, we had a COG meeting, and if you'd like, I can defer to you for the update.
Go
I think one of the key items, or a few of the key items that came out of COG were the update on the Highway 156 expansion project. Just want to let everybody know that that's still on target for 2020. There was some concern because of Proposition 6 and maybe losing some funding for that project. Because Proposition 6 did not prevail, that was repealing the gas tax. The funding is still available for that project, and they're still predicting it to begin construction in 2020. The holdup is a very important holdup, and I've mentioned it before at this meeting, is eminent domain processes. There's several landowners out there that unfortunately have to go through the eminent domain process of condemning their land and the state buying it from them. So it's very important that we get that right and take our time to do that right. And then the other, there was some finality to the selection of our county transportation provider and our limited access provider. So folks that will take the vans, go to the house, walk up to the door, help the person into the van. Those they were both selected and approved, and will continue on with the contract. And I was a part of that day-long process. And I'll say it here again. I said it in COG. I was really impressed with the process. It's a big contract, and there was several bidders, and there was an RFP scoring process, and it was very transparent, very clear, and I believe that the appropriate providers were selected. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Absolutely. Just to point out what you're talking about and what Vice Mayor Luna mentioned, it's for the seniors, and it's a very important program. It does all tie together in the end. So thank you very much for the report. I do not have any reports, so we're going to move to item G2, informational reports. Councilmember Lenore.
I just wanted to report that I do have a new email address. I suspect that the new council members will also have something similar. So it has changed from the Carol.Lenore. It's now COH.DIST1 for District 1 at hollister.ca.gov. My phone number still remains the same, currently 637-8588. I want you to know that I am always willing to talk to anybody, face-to-face, email, phone, whatever. I would like you to call me with your concerns. I do represent downtown. I'm passionate about downtown. Also, I'm planning on visiting the Hollister Industrial Park, as it's part of my district, to introduce myself to the businesses out there, and as well as downtown. But I do think it's important to reach out to our manufacturing businesses, which are mostly in my district. So please, I want people to use me. That's why I came up here. I'm not going to be here that long. I think I can help you out on some of your issues. So do not hesitate to give me a call. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Clower.
Yeah, I'd just like to congratulate Robert Rivas and Kristen and Melina and their family and team. He was sworn in this morning as our assembly member in Sacramento, so that was a very exciting time for them, and I was happy that I was able to attend, so it was very neat, and I think we're lucky to have somebody that's as local to our area. I don't remember a time when we had somebody that was from Hollister.
Robert Frazetta.
Peter Frazetta.
Yeah, I mean, excuse me, Robert. That is a Frazetta, but yeah, Peter Frazetta.
Yeah. So I'm excited that he's up there, and he's, like Carol was saying, he's also pretty accessible. So, and if you really need to get a hold of him, I know where he lives, so just get a hold of me.
Yeah.
Vice Mayor Lynn.
We're very lucky.
I want to echo that. Congratulations on Robert Rivas and Ana Caballero, who was also sworn in to the California State Senate today, and which is something that some people that we know, that we can trust, that will be there for us, and I know we can call on them. I have an important announcement to make, and I hope that everybody in the audience and who's ever watching takes notes on this. Senate Bill 946, street vendors. The governor approved this bill in September. He signed it. And so cities, counties have to get ready for this bill. These are street vendors. It's the law now. You can't stop them. So it is up to the city to put together a city ordinance or follow their business license structure to make sure that city vendors are allowed in our city. And I think it's going to be a plus for some families that this is the only way that they can raise funds for their family and for their income. You already have some vendors, and let me tell you, of all the students here today, you know who your vendors are at the high school, right? Right around the corner. And you know what? I think that it's important that the city be prepared for that, because it is coming down your way January 1st, and business licenses are being right now, actually, the notices are going out and have gone out for renewals of business license. So I believe that maybe the city ordinance, Mr. Mayor, maybe you can come bring back, a restructure of this city ordinance for business license to include Senate Bill 946. And if you look it up online, it gives you all the details of the requirements from other cities. And I can't stress enough that this is the law. We can't change it. We just have to go with it and make sure that that people are not actually given notices and all that, because after all, now they can do this. Before, it was very different. I know the city of Los Angeles took this on for a while, and they tried to fight it, but they gave in. But now it's law. And it was authored by Ricardo Lara, who was our state senator, who is now the insurance commissioner. And I am sure Ricardo's going to be right on top of this, and I think every city should be. So that would be my announcement. Also, I want to just mention to you the need for children gifts this year. This weekend, my husband and I worked on the request that came in to the organization of LULAC. And there was 194 requests that came in for needy children. There's 93 boys and 86 girls. So if anybody wants to help, this is the time to put that smile on a child's face. And I know that there's a local bank that actually does have the ornaments there, and you can walk in, get an ornament, and take a gift back. It will get to that child. So whether you bank there or not, you can walk into that bank. They'll welcome you, and the gifts are there for these children that live in labor camps around the city, the county, that are in apartment houses, that agencies recommend, teachers recommend, and your gift will get to that child. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilman Aguilera.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a little bit of a lengthy report tonight, but I'll try to talk fast. You guys all know I talk fast. Upcoming events, District 4 has a park meeting coming up. Mr. Richmond, I don't know how familiar you are with Facebook, but I tagged you on there, so hopefully your new constituents will show up at that meeting. Wednesday, December 12th, 7 p.m., Saturday, January 12th at 11:30 a.m., and this is for the design of the park around Fire Station number 2, and the meeting is actually at Fire Station number 2. And if you don't think that you have any input in the city process, you're wrong. If you show up at this meeting and there's a consensus on what the group wants to see there, I can almost with a certainty guarantee you that you will see some of your ideas take shape in that park. So I really hope people show up to that and provide their input. On the 8th, which is this Saturday, at the Garden Mark, there's a Hollister Animal Control fundraiser. I'm sure the chief will talk about that as well, so I won't steal any more of his thunder, but an important event to raise money for our animal control folks. On the 15th, we have Wreaths Across America. If you haven't been to this, it's pretty special. I believe it's the Chamber of Commerce puts on an event at Gavilan Cemetery, and actually they go to other cemeteries as well, depending on how many wreaths there are, and you actually take a wreath and you place it on a veteran's tombstone. Very powerful event, and I highly recommend anybody that wants to give back to our vets to go out there and check out the ceremony and maybe place a couple wreaths. I saw we have somebody from our county elections department in here, and I got to say that, and for Christine as well, that our elections were ran very smoothly and very transparently, and the ability for an individual who's running for office or a community member to go sit and watch the ballots come in, watch the ballots get counted, just provides transparency and trust in our process and our system. So for anybody who's here and for who's watching, I wanted to say thank you for that. I was thoroughly impressed with the professionalism of the process. A couple more kudos for staff. We had breakfast with Santa in the downtown when Hollister Recreation, and I couldn't believe the turnout. It was just amazing. There were so many kids there, and everybody was happy and smiling and visiting with Santa. And they went next door over to Mars Hill and were able to purchase some items there. It was really, really a great event. Lights on Parade, the Hollister Downtown Association. I happened to be in the parade, and I don't know that I've ever seen that many people in one part of Hollister ever. It was incredible. There was people 4 deep all the way from 7-Eleven to the vault down there. I mean, it was incredibly packed, and then down the side streets, and man, what a turnout. It makes me really feel warm that we have a great community and we have great events like that happen. Golden Eagle Mortgage just had a toy drive. And again, our fire department, thank you guys. Chief, I thought you were still here, but I might have missed you. There you are. Thank you, sir. Thank you for sending your folks out there to support that. Super important to be able to get some toys for the kids. And I'm not sure who's all going to be here next week, so just real quickly, I want to say, and I don't know if we're going to have time to talk next week. He's saying yes, so he's saying don't talk now because I don't want to hear it twice. I'll say thank you to all, and then I'll prepare a better some talking points for next week. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for your time.
Thank you very much. I don't have any notices today. I was out of town with my family for the Thanksgiving holidays, and thank you all. I know you all did a great job here at the other meeting. City Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, just to kind of echo what Councilman Gillio said about the Lights On celebration, it was a very huge event. I was fortunate enough to be able to ride in one of the new engines from the Hollister Fire Department, as well as some of the members of our Hollister Youth Committee, so I thought that was cool. I want to thank the Hollister Fire Department for allowing us to do that. They get a kick out of that, and it means a lot to them, so that was kind of cool. And then secondly, on Thursday, just for this council to know, because this council spent a lot of time on this particular subject, is the California Department of Public Health paid a visit to the city of Hollister. They were basically doing an inspection of our cannabis manufacturing facilities. They're the agency at the state level that does manufacturing. There's a few different agencies at the state level that does various components of it. But I'm happy to report that not only were they thoroughly impressed with all the manufacturing facilities that they actually visited, some operating, some not operating, but they were still pretty impressed with the level or the bar that we've set for our facilities. But then also basically the staff that prepares the documents, et cetera, and goes through the inspection process. So they were very impressed with at the police department with Chris and Dan, with Maria, and Charlie Bedolla was there, and we all went around, spent a good portion of the day doing that. So I just want to let you know that, and this community know that at least that component of the cannabis business in our community is running top notch. So I just wanted to tell them thank you and to let you know that everything's going well.
Excellent. Thank you very much. City Attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No statement.
Okay. Chief?
Just two things. As Councilman Gillio said, December 8th, 12 to 4 p.m. at the Garden Mart, 410 Spring Grove Road. We'll have our annual Christmas fundraiser. These fundraisers are split between the rescues that show up, but we, on the animal control side, use them to defray costs for microchipping the animals that get adopted at Hollister Animal Shelter as well. The second thing is this last weekend, the department employees volunteered their time to go build bikes for Turning Wheels organization in San Jose. That allowed us to bring back about 90 bikes, a few more than that actually, to our community, which we will give out in the coming weeks at an event that we'll announce here fairly soon to some kids that got elected by their teachers as well. So that's all I have.
Excellent. City Clerk?
Again, I just wanted to echo what everyone else is saying and thank the outgoing council members for their service, and it's been an honor to work with you all.
Thank you very much. Students, you picked the perfect night to come out. These meetings never end this early. So with that, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. The motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. You can come up and get your signatures.